Welcome back to my channel, everyone. This video's project will be a magnolia flower. Flowers were always something that I love to draw and paint, so I decided why not start making them in glass. So here we are. Once again, I made my pattern in Photoshop. If you're curious how I made my patterns in Photoshop, I will be making a video showing that. And I'll probably start adding that process to my my start to finish projects. So we'll keep an eye out for those. I need to go pick out my glass. I'm going to do, so magnolias come in a few different colors, but this one I'm going to focus on the white and pink magnolia. So yeah, let's get some glass. Okay, I have my glass picked out. I grabbed a few different colors. So I think this center piece, I'm going to do this kind of yellowish green. And then for the leaves, magnolia leaves are kind of dark, so I found this, I have this just pretty dark, sparkly emerald green, but it has, I don't know if I can get a good shot of it. There you go. It has this really cool texture that might be good for the leaves. All of the inside petals of the magnolia are white, but when you get to the center, since, you know, shadows and all that, I found this whitish gray, so that can go in these inner leaves. And then I'll use the darker pink for these spots, and then this lighter pink for just these perimeter folded over leaves. So now I'm gonna go ahead and trace my pattern. I think I'll just start with the leaves. I like using the Sharpie paint markers, but sometimes they don't want to cooperate. Especially if you get the super fine tipped ones, they tend to clog. But these are a little bit thicker and I think they work better. Okay, this is pretty textured on the front, so I'm going to trace my pattern on the back. We don't want to waste glass, so get as close to an edge or corner as you can. And do not forget to flip your pattern over. And I mean, there are many different ways to go about your patterns. Some people, like me, like to cut the pattern out on thick cardstock. What am I doing? And just trace it on. Some people like to use a light table and just trace their pattern on the light table without having to cut out any pattern pieces. Some people cut out their pattern pieces and just glue them onto their glass and cut around the pattern. How else can you do it? Sure, you can go all abstract and just free form it, no pattern at all. I actually made a candle holder once without using a pattern, but I mean, it was just a geometric design, so I didn't really need a pattern, but it was a little tricky in some spots. Alright, you guys, it looks like I'm ready to start cutting out my pieces. I already went through and trimmed off any excess glass just so I have smaller pieces to work with. Let's go over some of the tools really quick. So I've got my Toyo pistol grip cutter. This is my favorite cutter. It's what I learned on, it's what I always use. I tried a pencil grip for a little bit, but it just wasn't for me. Some people might like that, I just don't. I have a small pair of running pliers and a larger pair of running pliers. I don't know how much I'll need these cutting out petals, but you'd be surprised. So for the longest time, I only used running pliers. Yes, I know, I'm crazy. But recently, I bought a second pair of Grozers, and it has made all the difference. So, I mean, while it is completely possible to do a lot of your cuts with just running pliers, Grozers are going to be so helpful. Let's just do some of these. See, look how, I don't know how I went so long without using these. I really don't. Maybe I just like to torture myself, who knows. So that piece was too small to break off. So then you can kind of nibble away at it. Okay, that kind of slid on me. I don't think it's gonna. So this is where the second pair of Grozers come in handy. Because when the piece is too small to hold, you can just use the second pair to hold your piece in place. And then the rest of this I'm just going to grind down because it's such fine little pieces. I have a lot of time. And there we go. I'm sure you don't want to watch me all day, so let's speed it up. Okay, now that my piece has been ground down and fits fairly well, we are ready to foil. So with my geometric pieces, I want the pieces to fit fairly close together so I get nice, even, straight solder lines. But with a piece like this, we can leave a little gapping in there. It doesn't have to fit perfectly because we'll just fill that with solder and it won't take anything away from the overall design. I'm going to be using a mixture of foil widths because I want thinner solder lines in the center where there are really small pieces going on. And then I'll use, I think I'll use, depending on how thin it is, I might use 3/16 in the center and either 7/32 or 1/4 inch out here more. Probably use 1/4 inch for these and then 7/32 for the pink parts. And then 1/4 inch again for the leaves. Yeah, that should work. So I think I'm going to apply a black patina around the leaves, and then the main flower, I'm going to leave the solder line silver. Since you can't really see through these pieces of glass, you can use copper backed foil. What am I doing? Oh yeah. You can use copper backed foil because copper backed foil is cheaper than these. But if you don't care, then you can just use the backing that correlates to the finish you're going to use. Oh, and I just got just embroidery scissors. I find they're much better for cutting foil than regular scissors, because after a while your regular scissors will stick together. And some people just use their fingers to rip the copper foil, but no thank you. So 1/4 inch foil is pretty thick, and I don't use it that much. I'm not a big fan of super duper thick solder lines, but it can be nice to add variation. So now for this little piece that goes in between the leaves here, I'm going to use the 3/16 foil. Just so if I use the 1/4 inch foil on this, it would cover pretty much the whole piece and it'd be pointless. ready to start soldering. I always wear gloves just in case. I don't want to touch too much lead. So originally I was going to do the border with hobby came, but I changed my mind. So I had to go back and foil the edges of the leaves. Alright, so I've got my 60-40 solder. I have my flux, my tinning bar, and my soldering gun, soldering iron. So first we're just gonna tack some pieces together and then go for it. Now that I just washed it, I have to clean up all the solder lines. I'm just using very fine steel wool. It's either 000 grade or 0000. I am so happy with how this is turning out. Stained glass is such a tedious craft, but luckily I enjoy each step of it. That would really suck if I hated a part of it. Shine, 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 shine. There. That looks beautiful. Ooh, I hate steel wool. It's so messy. Hey, look how shiny that gets. That is what you want to see. I think this is one of the reasons people have so much trouble with copper patina, is I don't think they clean their solder lines enough. Because if your solder gets that shiny and you apply a copper patina to it, it shouldn't give you any trouble at all. Maybe one day I will do a copper patina tutorial. Normally I would use an old toothbrush to apply the black patina, but since I only want it on the leaves, I'm using a Q-tip so I don't get it where I don't want it. It's kind of like painting. I think this is one of my favorite parts of the process. It's like magic. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So very cool. And I mean, if you do get black patina in a spot where you don't want it, you can just take your steel wool and scrub it off. But we'd rather not have to do that, right? Okay. That's a really good dark black patina I'm getting. I used to use Q-tips all the time, but I realize you waste a lot of Q-tips this way. So that's why I switched to using a toothbrush. And I mean, it works just as well, even almost better.